about, but I'm not going to do it. Hey everyone, today's day 27 of the 90-day My Own Challenge. It's been a crazy busy day. Looked at a lot of properties with Sam. Had a great meeting. Just, the feeling that you get when you have like a really, really positive day. I'm still at the office. Yesterday we were working till, I think 8 was before we left. So, feeling just like a ton of growth right now and extremely thankful for it, and just going to continue to push into it. And if that means some late nights, well, that's just what it takes. A few people have asked me just over the last few weeks. It's actually happened twice of, what does it take to grow as fast as we have? And I'm, not trying to give myself a big head or anything like that, but my answer is always like, if I'm not at work, I'm not really like doing anything else. Like I'm either at work, I'm with friends, which happens occasionally. Everyone needs to take a break, or at the gym, or like that's it. Like there really isn't anything else. So that's what it takes. You're not going to get to travel a lot. You're not going to get to do some other stuff. You got to be really dedicated. But that's not what this video is about. I think I was just really excited about what's going on, and I wanted to talk about that for a bit. Today, as you can see from the post, going over some of my favorite kind of tactics to talk with when you're dealing with the seller. Of course, every situation with the seller is going to be different, and you got to know, this isn't listed, but first off, you got to know who you're talking to. Like you're talking to someone who is like needs to sell fast and they're an extremely unsophisticated seller, or you're talking to some big like syndication firm with thousands of units, because a lot of these things, if you try them on them, like they know exactly what you're trying to do. I'm not gonna say that people, even with hundreds of thousands of units, can't get emotional, and some of these tactics can still work. But I found that the more sophisticated person I talk with, the more direct I should be. So not saying that you shouldn't still try some of these, but they tend to work on people who don't have a extensive background in real estate or haven't had an opportunity to negotiate on a regular basis. So the first one that I really like to use is intentionally mislabeling a seller's emotion or what a seller wants. Of course, I've talked about in the past that everyone has like this big red button that you can press and they'll talk your ear off for an hour. For most people, it's their kids or their kids' sport. A lot of people, it's their work or their family or something like that. But the same is kind of true on like more of a micro level when you're trying to figure out what is it that's going to make a seller actually want to sell. And when you're having trouble finding that out, because you absolutely have to know that, because a lot of times it's not the price. They'll tell you it's the price, but if you dig a little deeper, like sometimes it's not, sometimes it is, but either way, you have to know. But intentionally mislabeling something that they said, which can actually kind of make you look like an idiot or make you look like you're not really listening. But what's like most people's natural instinct when you say something that isn't true is they're going to correct you. So if they've just said that owner financing is really important to them, and then you come back, your next line is, it seems like owner financing really isn't that important to you. Like, what's the first thing they're going to do? Of course, they're going to be like, you idiot, why? Like, no, I just told you owner financing is extremely important to me. And so that's kind of an extreme example, but kind of working into the conversation that you're clearly not getting what they said, or if you're a little unclear, like pushing into that a little bit more to get them to elaborate on something that could be more important. So, like, the goal is to kind of look like an idiot or make it look like you misheard, to get them to correct you, to get them to actually point you and just tell you directly what they want out of this transaction. The next one is mirroring. Of course, mirroring is, when someone ends a sentence, just like the last few things that they say, like you act like, again, you kind of didn't hear, and maybe just repeat the last word that they say. So if they're like, I want to sell for a big amount, and you just say big amount. And the biggest thing here is the pause and being okay with how uncomfortable the next 10 seconds might be. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, I'm sure everyone has heard like the person who talks first loses. And it really is true. Like, there's such like an inclination. I have this problem of I want to like jump in and like steer a conversation or like help people with their answers, even when I just ask them a question. But you need to get really comfortable with like the silence, with the awkward pause, even if it means you sit there for 20 seconds staring at each other, which actually has happened to me once. You just got to be okay with it, because again, the goal is to get them to keep talking, because the more someone talks, the more likely they're going to say something that they didn't mean to say, or something that they were trying to hide. Or I mean, people just talk themselves in circles and they end up telling you some things about a property that they really weren't trying to disclose, or again, telling you some of the factors that may actually help them sell, or they may actually even negotiate against themselves. Like if you're negotiating an owner finance deal and you're trying to figure out what rate, and they mention a bank rate, or maybe they accidentally slip up and mention a past deal they did. I mean, it happens all the time. But again, the awkward silence is a necessity to get that. You just it's so uncomfortable, but you just have to do it. And kind of the last one, which is like kind of like a 3-part thing, is whenever you're approaching to make an offer, something I really like to do is set people up to expect bad news. So you don't just rush in. I mean, again, with a more sophisticated seller, you might just say, hey, my offer is this, take it or leave it. But with someone who you've been negotiating with back and forth, like leading with the phrase, I've got an offer, but I don't think you're gonna like it. Or I ran some comps and I'm gonna show you them, but didn't exactly go the way that I thought it would. Like it doesn't really matter. Just something along those lines of, this is bad news. I haven't even told you the bad news yet, but there is bad news coming. Because something's going to cause a drop in their stomach, and either it's that line or it's going to be the price. And I would rather drop their stomach earlier and then be building back up to, hey, here's why I got to this, than throwing out a price, their stomach dropping, and them just hanging up. The next thing is, so you've caused that like moment of shock, or caused that expectation that a low offer is coming, and then you still don't mention the price. You start building to the price through a ballpark or a reference or a nearby comp or something, really anything besides just telling them the price. And they're probably going to ask for the price at this point, but you're just like, I really like understanding what the price, but I don't just want to throw a number out there. I want to show you these other houses in the area, which could frustrate them a little bit. But again, like, you have to be okay with not the most comfortable situations. And then finally, once you've kind of like given them a ballpark, or like pointed to a nearby comp and say, these others are selling around this price. Of course, it's just like, I guess in some situations you can also like anchor really low, where you kind of like mention the ballpark price and then pay, and then maybe even say like another but yours even has this issue, which is going to cause me, it's not even as good. So those are some of the tactics that I really like to use. If you haven't read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, I think it's Chris Voss, you definitely should. It's one of the best negotiating books I've ever read. And these 3 concepts are taken directly from that. And I read it when I was getting into real estate, and I've used them hundreds of times. And finally, the last tip, and I really should have put this in the description too, always remember in a negotiation, the person that cares the least is gonna win. I mean, you can bluff, and you could do a number of different things to make it seem like you don't care, but at the end of the day, the person who actually doesn't care and has the most power to walk away is gonna win. And now sometimes it doesn't shake out like that, and you're able to kind of play the game and make it seem like you've got the power when you really don't. But there's an abundance of deals out there. Do not get tied to one. You can walk away from any deal and find a better one the very next day. Never speak that over yourself, that there are no good deals, or that things are selling for more than you can pay for them. That just means you're not looking hard enough. So thanks to everybody for watching. We are hiring, so if you're interested in that, or you want me to make a video on a certain topic, let me know. And otherwise, I will be back tomorrow with another video.